Good morning and happy blessed Friday. I was on a call with my son and we were just talking about a bunch of different things, particularly gender and how people show up in relationships. And it sparked a thought for me. And that thought I had to write down. So I'm going to go through what I wrote down, tell a story, and then give my thoughts around it. So often you hear men say that a woman struggles with daddy issues, but you don't really hear much, or you may, about men having mommy issues. And what those are, I think, core problems that someone had with their mother or their father growing up, and the internalization of it. And so what it sparked for me was abandonment, right? And abandonment looks like this. I'm gonna define it. So emotional abandonment is a subjective emotional state in which people feel undesired, left behind, insecure, or discarded. And people experience emotional abandonment. They may feel at a loss or cut off from a crucial source of sustenance that has been withdrawn either suddenly or through a process of erosion, right? And then that leads to fears that could possibly impair the person's ability to trust other people. Makes sense, right? And it makes it hard for them to feel worthy or be intimate. And so the 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 story that I have is, I had some daddy issues, and the relationship that I had with my father growing up then played itself out in the relationships that I've had with men. Nothing that I'm proud of, but I am very at peace with and can openly talk about that. And there was a period in my life where the hurt and the anger that I had towards my father for the things that he may have said, or I needed to hear him say and he didn't, or did, or the things that I needed him to do and he didn't, felt like abandonment to me in a lot of ways. And so there was a point in my life where I was dating a bunch of people at the same time. Not intimate, but dating a bunch of people. And these men all served a purpose. There wasn't one person who I felt like could meet whatever needs I was having at that time. And so each guy represented something that I needed. And it was very selfish and it was very cruel. But it was also a source of playing out whatever it was that I was lacking or missing. And so a lot of people go through that abandonment and mommy issues or daddy issues. It's not a gender thing, it's a person thing. And people will say that a woman who has daddy issues deep down inside really hates men, or a man, and in hating men, she may treat them really unkind. Or a man who has mommy issues, he may dog women, date a bunch of women, not respect them, not listen to anything that they say, not consider their thoughts, their feelings. It's very selfish, and selfishly driven, right? Like, I'm going to get my needs met. I don't really care that it's harming or hurting another person. And the extent in which I'll go is as far as I want or need to in order to get my immediate needs met. And that's for men and women, mommy issues, daddy issues. And so it just made me think that we have to be careful not to label people as insecure or incapable. And when we look at the root causes, right, that's why therapy and self-care is so important. Therapy plays a role in that it allows you to really come to the table, if you trust your therapist, and talk about your life experiences and the positive impacts you feel like they have, or had, and the negative impacts you feel like they've had, and really be able to list out and dissect it. And the therapist, if they're good, they're going to help you. They're going to guide you through that process and give you or help you with a different perspective. And therapy is about unveiling, exploring, forgiving, whether it be yourself or other people, moving on and moving forward, and then applying different skills in which you've learned so that you can be different in your relationship. And I often say that once you know better, then it's a choice to do better. And rather than harm people by making them feel bad about things that have happened to them or in their lives, take the time to get to know someone, and really get to understand the impact that their life experiences have had on them, because we're quick to discard people. We're quick to label, discard, belittle, make them feel bad about things that they had no control over. How can a child, particularly early childhood life experiences, if a parent leaves suddenly or over a period of time, or a parent dies, or a child is just left behind, and they feel abandoned, how do we then turn around and make them feel bad about not having a very important source, a very important person, if they're in a healthy state, be around to help them and provide them with their immediate needs, right? So we have to be careful about labeling people with daddy issues or mommy issues, because the reality is it's a person issue or struggle. It's not gender based. Abandonment has happened, can happen, and will happen to anyone. The hope is that that person will have support around them to help them process that, and that the residual isn't the anger that is then taken out on the people you trust and love the most, because you feel like that you can, or they'll be there and they'll hold it or carry it with you. And the self-care piece is learning about yourself and the things that have harmed you or impact you, and taking the time, being intentional about it, to care for yourself. So just a thought, or my thoughts rather. Thank you for listening. I love you. Happy Blessed Friday.